All right, thank you very much. Oh my God. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is actually pretty highly requested. I've been asked many a times to film this video, but I've also decided to split it into two parts. So the first part of the video today is going to be about where I buy my Hermes bags. So as you know, I love Hermes. I have a strong passion for the brand, and no, it's not because of the games that they play, because basically that's what this video has come from, is because I don't really quite like the games that Hermes does play. But truth be told, it's not like that everywhere. It's not like that in all stores. It's not like that in all countries. But unfortunately, where I am, there is only one boutique in all of, well, I would say that there's two boutiques, but the other boutique is in the airport and it's in the international area, so that doesn't count. You have to actually be going somewhere to use that boutique. But where I am, there's really only one main boutique, and it's quite a small boutique, so there is very stiff competition. Before I get into this first part of the video about where I buy my Hermes bags from, firstly, if you aren't already subscribed, then I would appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button below, and also the bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos, which is generally at least once a week. For all my subscribers that are already subscribed, then welcome back, and thank you very much for requesting this video. Something like this is what I love to film. It's sometimes hard to compile a video like this and think of everything, to go through all my history and make sure I cover absolutely everything. As you know, I'm very transparent on my channel. I'm extremely honest. It does get me some criticism, unfortunately. I do get criticized quite a bit for not being a bag collector and selling my bags all the time. I've never said that I am a luxury bag collector. I consider myself a luxury connoisseur, where I appreciate luxury. I love luxury. I do a lot of research. I read about brands, but I don't have a lifestyle where I can just buy absolutely whatever I want. And in the times that I do buy things, sometimes they don't work out for me, and I can't just keep them for the sake of keeping them, and I can't just keep items if I'm not totally in love with them. Most of the time, I sell my luxury items in order to fund a new luxury purchase. Along my journey, I have ended up with a love for Hermes. I didn't always love Hermes. Quite frankly, I think I only knew about the brand perhaps when I was around about 26 years old. I kind of heard about the brand just because, I mean, I was always on the Purse forum and I was reading things. So I knew that the brand existed, but I didn't really know much about the brand until the past, say, 5 years. Probably about, yeah, 5 years. That's when I actually learned more about the brand, and then it kind of just kept delving into it and learning more and more about the brand, their craftsmanship, and of course learning how to obtain a Birkin, which is what they call these threads. It's usually how to obtain a Birkin. Craftsmanship is just on a whole different level. An Hermes bag really feels superior. It feels as though a lot of love and passion was put into making the bag. It wasn't just, quick, we gotta get this done, so, you know, because of all the demand. It's not about that. They don't think in that aspect. It still takes so much time to make these bags because they are so meticulous about getting it right all the time. I'm going to start off with the stores that I have actually bought my bags from, and then I'm going to include pictures of the bags that I had bought, and then we're going to talk about the other places that I do recommend that you get Hermes bags from. Firstly, I want to address, just in case I get asked any questions about tax, I'm just going to say, just know your country's tax system, know what is expected of you when it comes to importing goods, and just plan for the tax. Any discussions that you have with any of these stores is completely your business, and that's it. Let's start off with the first bag that I ever bought, which was a Kelly 32 in Dennis, and it was a black rattan Kelly with gold hardware. It was a vintage bag. I think it was a 1999 made, and I actually bought this from a store in Japan called Celeb 78, and I found them through Rakuten. Global Rakuten Market is what it's called. It is like eBay, but it's not as user friendly as eBay. The Global Rakuten Market is a marketplace for Japanese consignment stores, Japanese stores to list products. They have many of other products, but I'm just talking here specifically about Hermes bags. They sell new Hermes bags, pre-loved Hermes bags. Basically, it's a fantastic place to go and look for an Hermes bag if you would have gone to Japan and looked at these stores, but you're not wanting to just travel to Japan all the time just to go and get pre-loved Hermes bags. This pretty much offers almost all of those stores. The only downfall is that some of those stores do not ship to overseas countries. They only ship within Japan, but there is actually a way around it. Rakuten does offer like on forward shipping. They give you a Japanese address, so that way you can actually get the bag sent to your Japanese address, and then the Rakuten shipping program will then ship it to wherever you are in the world. For me, I have only dealt with sellers that send international. I haven't yet actually used the Global Rakuten the Global Rakuten shipping address. I haven't used it yet. If I ever do, I of course will give you more details on it, but that option is there. So mostly I just filter my searches for companies that ship within Australia, and that's how I came across this bag. I did get a good deal on it. I haven't written down prices because I did discuss more into detail when I spoke about my Hermes journey. The next bag was a Birkin 30 in black palladium hardware, and I bought this from a store, a Japanese store called Yourauthenticseller, Japan. They are also on the Rakuten Marketplace, but in this instance, I actually went directly through the Yourauthenticseller website, and because it was cheaper than what Rakuten was offering. And the next one, I believe, was a Kelly 28 in trench, and this was in gold hardware, and it was from they're a store that advertises on Instagram, but they do have a shop and they're located in the Philippines. They consider themselves like a concierge personal shopper, but you can make an appointment with them. They are called Luxestation. They don't have really much Hermes stock, like very rarely. I think with their Hermes stock, it's because they've gone over to Europe and they've scored a bag in Paris, and that's why their pricing is pretty good for brand new Hermes bags. Luxestation, they do accept PayPal. First note that I should say is that any seller that I buy from that is not, say, a big marketplace or Rakuten or a consignment store like Fashion File or whatever, like that kind of thing. If I'm buying from an individual kind of privately owned consignment store, particularly the ones that are in Asia, I always make sure that they accept PayPal. So that's just a full note to let you know with these. I don't deal with anyone that only accepts bank transfer. I think the next one was a Kelly 32 in CL. Now, the problem with this bag is that it was advertised as blue lin, but it actually turned out to be CL. And the reason I know it turned out to be CL is because I ended up selling this to Fashion File for a buyout price. So that Kelly 32 in CL was from Yourauthenticseller, and it is actually a store that's in Singapore, and they do have an Instagram where they advertise all their bags, but they have a showroom in Singapore where you can make an appointment to go and view their stock. They're actually quite big in Singapore. They're very highly recommended, and the owner, Garrick, is extremely helpful, but he is very busy because it is privately owned, but his stock is amazing. Another bag that I bought was actually a Constance 18 in black Swift, and this was from a store called brandox, and they are actually on eBay. They're also on Rakuten, but on Rakuten they don't ship international, but on eBay they ship international. I knew going into it that it was going to have like quite a lot of wear to the bag, but unfortunately it didn't have a lot of photos. I feel as though they could have depicted the wear quite better with the images. So that's just a little bit of a warning with this seller, is that they do tell you that the condition is quite used. They do rank it correctly. They ranked it right. It was just that I couldn't really quite see the correlation between the ranking and the wear to the bag in the photos, because the photos weren't very clear. They were kind of slightly blurry. But when I received the bag, it just had a bit of deformity to it in the leather. I didn't know that I had such structure loss to the Constance 18 when I received it, so that was a bit disappointing. I knew that there were scratches on the bag. I didn't know that the buckle was very heavily scratched, because to be fair, it's actually quite hard to photograph the metal Constance buckle, because it gets quite a lot of light reflecting on it and you just can't capture the scratches on it. I did pay well under retail for it. I could have got the buckle replaced in Spa. The structure of the bag perhaps could have been fixed in Hermes Spa as well. But because I wasn't 100% happy with it, I decided to then just sell the bag, and then I got exactly my money back anyway. And the next owner was very happy with it because she paid under retail for the bag, like well under retail for it. Now this bag I still have in my collection, and it is my absolute favorite. It's the Kelly 25 in Gris Asphalt, and I did buy this in the resale market. I bought this from a consignment store called JLIG99, but she is actually only exclusively on Instagram. She's based in Singapore. She does have a fairly big clientele. She gets a lot of inventory, and she is obviously selling on behalf of other people. She is not a reseller, which there is actually a difference between resellers. So you say the resale market, which means the resale of Hermes bags, but I don't consider a reseller the same as a consignment store, because a reseller is someone who goes to Hermes stores, try and scores bags and then resells them. So they're actually reselling their personal scores. I consider that to be a reseller. She gets stock from people that want to sell the Hermes bags. Perhaps those are resellers and she's selling on behalf of them, but she's not the one going around the world trying to score these bags. Another seller that I've actually bought from, and I forgot to list it in my list here, and it was the Rakuten 18 in gold. And it was from a Japanese store that I do not remember the name because it was actually quite complex, but it was on Rakuten. I'm going to have a look at who the store was, and I'm going to put it in the description bar below. I ended up selling it because I thought it was going to be the Rakuten lock. I did not know that the Rakuten didn't have a lock pre, I think, 2008. I think all bags prior to 2008 didn't have the actual lock on it, and I didn't know that. So I didn't, I mean, the pictures didn't really show that it didn't have the lock. Didn't list the lock in the accessories inclusion either, so that should have been a sign that it isn't a Rakuten lock. But yeah, that's just something to know about the Rakuten. Our older models do not have the lock. So I ended up selling it, and I made a little slight profit on that. I think it was like about $200 because I got it for a very good deal. One last bag that I have to list that I bought and no longer have, and it was my Constance 18 in blue electric. I made a video about it just before about why I'm not in love with that bag. I have actually since sent that off for consignment, and we'll talk about that in another video when I mention all the places that I sell my Hermes bags. So the Constance 18 in blue electric I bought from a Indonesian. She's based in Indonesia. Consignment store. She does not have a showroom. She's extremely friendly. Out of all the resellers, I found her to be the most attentive, very attentive to detail, very passionate about the customer service and your experience. But that may also be because she's a smaller store, so she may have more time to be able to do that. And her business name is femme.authentics. She is, like I said, only on Instagram, and I did buy the Constance 18 from her. Last bag that I actually forgot to mention, it was one that was listed as my worst purchase in my worst purchases video, and it was the Constance 24 in Gris Moet. I bought this from she is a consignment store / concierge service. So she does actually like source other luxury brands and sell them. She is exclusively on Instagram, I believe. She's located again in Indonesia. Her store name is I Built SBN, if I remember correctly. I will put it down below. And I bought that Constance 24 Gris Moet from her when the Gris Moet bag was extremely popular. Doesn't have a huge inventory compared to some of the other ones that I listed. Her prices can be quite high because most of the time the bags that she is selling are brand new bags. Probably going to get asked this question: do I authenticate my bags before I buy them? And the answer is yes and no, because in the very beginning I did used to do that, and I would just get a quick check done by Real Authentication, and they could generally turn around and say to me, there is no red flags, but please send us some more pictures later on. And what I would do is when I would receive the bag, I would send them the final confirming photos, and they would say, yep, no problem, authentic. Now I'm actually very confident in my authenticating skills. I just know a lot about the brand. I've experienced, as you can see, so many Hermes bags that I really know what to look for now. I know the fine detail. I know quite a lot of things that I'm surprised that people don't even talk about when they've done these videos of fake versus real. Like, the biggest thing that I look for, I know it's not on the Constance bag, but it's the hand pearled screws on the plates of the Hermes Birkin and the Kelly. They are the obvious giveaway. Fakes can't get it right, they never can, and you can just tell the difference between what is actually done by an Hermes artisan in Hermes, France versus what is being done by a fake producer of Hermes fake bags. So that's the biggest thing I look for, and then there are quite a lot of other multitudes of things that I look for, points to check the authenticity of the bags, and I can do that on photos. The only downfall is that with brand new bags, they tend to not send you much photos, but like I said, I can see the big clear indicating factor. And with the Hermes Constance, it is actually more complicated. I have to actually look at stitching, I look at saddle stitching, I look at the stamp, the Hermes made in France stamp. I look at a lot of fine details, but there isn't the same obvious red flag that I can spot on the Birkin and Kelly than what there is on the Constance. So the Constance is a little bit more tricky, unfortunately. I do authenticate the bags myself. I'm not going to say that if you send me pictures of bags, I'm going to authenticate them for you, because I don't want that responsibility. I'm still going to stick with the fact of you should get your bags authenticated first, but all the sellers that I have mentioned, I'm actually very confident in their stock. I'm very confident in their authenticating skills, that they are selling you genuine products. And if you're paying with PayPal, you're getting the extra security as well. Always when I receive my bag, always I get it authenticated. I get it double checked. Even though I've already pre-authenticated it, I then get the final authentication done, taking my own photos myself, and I will either get it done by real authentication or I will get it done by Baba Baby. Now I mostly only get the Constance done by Baba Baby. I used to get only all my bags done by her because she is the absolute best, and she is exactly who I would recommend that you use. But for me, because I said I'm quite confident in my skills, I just get the double check done by real authentication, and they are very good at authenticating too. But the top tier authenticator, and everyone knows this, it's quite widely discussed on the Purse forum, is Baba Baby. She has been on the Purse forum since the OG's day. Now let's talk about some places that I actually still recommend that you can look at. And I haven't bought from any of these, but I have perhaps dealt with them in some way, like speaking to them, looking at their stock, maybe inquiring about a bag, but never perhaps going through with it. The first one being Luxestation. She has a great inventory. Next one is Pantone 1448. Inventory is much less, doesn't have a lot. Again, it's more to do with how big these consignment stores are in their area of Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia sort of thing, as to whether or not they get a lot of customers wanting to consign with them. The other one is O.B.S.G. All of these do accept PayPal. And then the fourth one is JHack40. My final group of stores that I would recommend, and these are all fairly well known. They're reputable consignment stores that we probably already know about. And starting off with probably the biggest name of all, and that's Fashionphile. Fashionphile has a great inventory of Hermes bags. However, for an Australian, they aren't really the best option. One, mainly because the US dollar to the Australian dollar is really bad at the moment. The next one would be Rebag. They have an okay inventory. I find that their pricing is actually a bit more competitive than Fashionphile. It's just that they have less of an inventory. The next one is Yogi's Closet. They have a very small inventory when it comes to Hermes bags, predominantly only selling pre-loved Hermes bags. The other one is The Real, which mostly sells, again, pre-loved Hermes bags. They have actually a pretty good inventory. The other one is Anne's Fabulous Finds. Again, they have a fairly good inventory, not as big as Fashionphile, but Anne's Fabulous Finds has very competitive pricing. All of these stores, I would stand by their authenticity. They have like your money back guarantee when it comes to authenticity. A lot of people have spoken about them, like having bought other brands from them, and they stand by the authenticity of the products that these stores sell. So I'm fairly confident in being able to recommend them as always selling authentic products. You probably don't need to get the bag pre-authenticated from these places. Really, all the other ones you kind of don't, in a sense, but it's different when you're dealing with massive registered businesses that cater to the worldwide and are in the US market versus consignment stores that are located in like Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia. It's because their network is much more closed in. It's mostly catered to Asia, so we don't get to really learn a lot about them. Let's say that this is in the final group, but this is just a few kind of other marketplaces that you can look at. And the reason that they're different is because this is actually marketplaces that other people are selling their pre-loved goods. Rakuten is kind of like one of them, but it's Japanese consignment stores selling pre-loved or new goods on the marketplace, on their Rakuten Global Marketplace. The other one is Rebonds. Rebonds sells pre-loved goods from consignment stores, but also from individual people as well. So Rebonds isn't actually very competitive when it comes to stock, but sometimes there are some gems on there that are actually a really good price. And then the last one, which is quite well known in Europe, and that is Vestiaire Collective. Vestiaire Collective I love to shop from because it has great competitive pricing with pre-loved luxury goods. The only downfall is that sometimes you do get quite marked up prices on Hermes, even though they're already pre-loved. It's because of the Vestiaire Collective fee when it comes to selling. So it's not exactly the person's fault that's consigning. You pay your tax when you are checking out, so you're not getting any nasty surprises when the bag arrives to your doorstep, or you're not getting a phone call saying you need to pay another $3,000 to receive this bag, like at the customs. They also authenticate the bags, so if I'm selling a bag through them, they will go and run through all the points of authenticity, and if it's good, they will ship it to you. If it's not, they will refund you. Vestiaire Collective is actually now opened up massively. It does Singapore, Hong Kong, US, Australia. And if you're based in the US and you're buying from Vestiaire Collective and you're buying from a seller that's based in the US, then you won't have to pay taxes. If you're buying from a seller and you're in Europe and they're in Europe, you won't have to pay taxes. However, within Australia, you always have to pay taxes on Vestiaire Collective because our point of distribution, like where people have to ship their bags to or ship their luxury items to, is actually in Hong Kong. So no matter what, we're gonna have to pay tax because we have to pay the tax from it going from Hong Kong to Australia. For the sake of helping my Australian audience and people that don't want to shop abroad and they just want to be able to buy their Hermes bags from within Australia, not obviously, we're not talking about buying from the store here. Wouldn't we always just love to just be able to go, yes, I want a Kelly 25 in Etube, Cellier, Gold Hardware. I would like that like tomorrow, please. Wouldn't it be nice to just be able to go to the Hermes store and do that? But it just doesn't work like that. That's not the way it works. So for people that actually want to buy their Hermes bags and not have to go through any hoops when it comes to buying in the store and you're based in Australia, there are a few consignment stores that I can recommend. The first one being Yourauthenticseller. Yourauthenticseller is based in Melbourne and they do have some Hermes bags pre-loved most of the time. The next one is the Purseonfleek. They are based again in Melbourne. They have a showroom. Yourauthenticseller and the Purseonfleek does have showrooms. They also have Instagram accounts where they have majority of their inventory. Third one being Luxestation Designer Archives, which are based in Queensland. They have, probably out of all the ones I mentioned, they probably have a better inventory than all when it comes to Hermes. The fifth one that I can think of is Timeless Vogue. Timeless Vogue, apart from all the other ones I mentioned, they all have like shops and showrooms, have their own websites as well. Timeless Vogue, I think, is only exclusively on Instagram. So I don't think that she has a showroom or a shop that you can look at it, but she has been recommended by other YouTubers as well, so she is very reputable. The other option is eBay, but I don't really put eBay as my top tier for recommended. eBay caters for all over the world as well, so it is an option for you to look at. When I do shop on eBay for Hermes bags, I tend to only look at Japan because I just trust Japan. I know that they have a very ridiculously strict policy when it comes to fakes, and I just know that they have a massive population and a massive amount of people that love luxury goods, so they're getting a lot of turnover when it comes to Hermes, so they're feeling bags, seeing bags, touching bags, so the authenticity skills in Japan are probably extremely high. They're probably the best in the world anyway because of the turnover that they have with luxury goods. Actually, there is one more, another store called Glam Shock. They, I believe they may have a showroom. They're based in the US. They have an Instagram account. I haven't actually bought an Hermes bag from them, but I do know of some other people on social media that I talk to that have and have had good experiences. But they're more of like a concierge personal shopper, but they may have the occasional Hermes bag. They are a reseller though. They're the ones that actually will go over to Paris, try to score a bag and then resell it. So yes, that's pretty much it. You know, if there is anyone else that I want to add to this list, then I'll add it to this list. There are probably some other stores that I can think of in my head, but I'm just not mentioning them because I haven't had enough of an experience with them, or I don't really know anyone that has dealt with them. So I'm just sticking to the ones that I have personally shopped from, that I know of people that have shopped from them, or I know quite a lot about the store. That wraps up part 1 for this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. It probably is, and I'm gonna have to cut a lot of my chatting. So yeah, part 1, where I buy my Hermes bags from, and the next video that I will upload will be part 2, and it'll be where do I sell my Hermes bags. Thank you very much for watching this video, and of course come back for part 2, and I hope to see you in that next video. Bye.